The Re-Engineering Assessment Practices, or REAP project, involved the implementation and evaluation of new models of assessment practice, supported by technology across 3 Glasgow universities. This 2-year project was led by David Nicol from the University of Strathclyde.
The REAP project's specific aim was to use assessment and feedback as a key driver for transformational change. The more students you had, the more cost there would be in terms of staff time in providing feedback. So you really needed to think about a way of changing the way that we looked at assessment and feedback and bring technology in. So both the technology and the changed thinking could have great potential for producing both learning gains and teaching efficiencies.
Students, they're always looking to the assessment, they're always looking to the exam to guide what they should be doing. So if you can bring about changes, innovations in your assessment, you can bring about changes in their attitude to learning and their engagement with learning.
It's important to recognise that we're not talking about formative assessment and feedback as just something that the teacher engages in. It's actually about the feedback that students generate themselves when they're engaged in assessment tasks and about the kinds of feedback they get from peers. I think the REAP project was redefining how we conceptualise assessment and feedback.
2 notable successes of the REAP project at Strathclyde occurred in the psychology and pharmacy departments. David Nicol takes us through the experience in psychology. But first, Anne Boyter, a senior lecturer in pharmacy, describes her experience in developing a new online tool called Script, which is used to enhance feedback.
The REAP principles are actually inform all of our teaching and all of our assessment, and it was mainly the feedback one to give the students instant feedback, but doing that with a year of 120 to 150 students, it's difficult to do it one-to-one, so Script is now integrated fully into our VLE. Students will see the facsimile of a real prescription, and then they have to look at it for legal errors, overdoses, underdoses, interactions. They then click to get this marked, and they get a bit of feedback as well, instantaneous, without having an awful lot of staff input extra to what we did in the past. We can now see which errors the students are making most commonly and tailor our tutorial the following week.
One project in psychology that particularly stands out, where they had 560 students, they used a discussion board in WebCT to get students to write collaborative essays. And they were able to show that not only did students provide a lot of feedback for each other, but they also actually performed better in the essay writing in the exams compared to previous years. The act of giving feedback is cognitively more demanding. It engages students more actively in the process. They spend time thinking about the criteria and how the assignment is related to the criteria.
If I can critically evaluate someone else's work, then it makes me be able to critically evaluate my own work a lot better and a lot more effectively.
Because one of the big concerns of peer assessment is that they have to talk to each other and they're not confident or respectful necessarily of each other's assessment of themselves. Doing it online, doing it more anonymously, doing it as a more group exercise, aided by technology, has been a very supportive way to get students to be more confident in both their own ability to evaluate and aware of what their peers bring to the assessment process.
We have a campaign now called the Feedback is Dialogue campaign, which provides a set of ideas for students about their own role in the assessment and feedback process and provides some web resources for them. And the Students' Union have helped us to promote that campaign.
What we have managed to do now is get away from this idea about lecturers simply delivering feedback and students simply accepting it, to more actually a critical analysis, getting students to kind of understand where they think they went wrong and how they can get better.
The REAP project demonstrated new ways of engaging students as active agents in learning. And as such, at the University of Strathclyde, a strategic review of curriculum delivery is now well underway.
You have to have a multi-strategy approach. So we had a set of principles that indicated how you might implement this in practice. We provided a range of examples. Then, as we implemented, we evaluated all of these things and we provided evidence to show that this was actually having an effect. So the evidence, spread across the institution to the extent that the Deputy Principal asked us to rethink the university's assessment and feedback policies.
if you can focus on how do you assess students' learning, what are they gaining from that learning, that's what brings about the ability for staff to actually look at how they're structuring the learning experience. So we think it takes you right to the heart of what you need to develop in order to bring about beneficial change right at the class level.